What's your obsession?
Yeah, what is my obsession? Well, I went through a phase of being obsessed with electric drag racing and built an electric drag car, a street legal drag car, because of Andy Frost's project, actually.
Was this called the Flux Capacitor dragster? Or was that something else?
There was the Flux Capacitor, Johnny's Flux Capacitor.
Someone asked me about this. Dan Edwards said, what happened to it?
The Flux Capacitor I bought in 2012. And for those that don't know, it was a very unpopular 1970s electric city car built on the Isle of Wight, 9 feet long, 6 horsepower. Or was it 8? 8 horsepower. I don't want to do it disservice.
Big numbers.
I decided to try and push the boundary and make it the world's quickest street legal electric car. So we spent nearly 2 years turning it into nearly 1,000 horsepower. And it would do, I've still got the world record for a street legal EV over the quarter mile, 9.8 seconds, which equaled the 918 Spider Porsche.
That is quick.
Yeah, it was exactly the same speed as a 918 Spider. So I'll take that.
Yeah, fair play.
With no traction control, nothing apart from a roll cage. And so I campaigned that car. We built it. We campaigned it 2015, 2016. I really poured my life and soul into it, and my wife really supported me on that. It's very time consuming.
What's the process of building something like that? Were you doing it at home? Were you doing it in collaboration with a bunch of people?
Yeah, I had a drag car builder who builds a lot of these sort of cars, who did the guts of the car, like modified the chassis, built the rear axle, did the roll cage to the right spec. And John Webster's great. He was the guy that I went to with the car on a trailer as soon as I bought it and said, here's what I want to do, but be honest with me if it's just, crackpot.
Yeah.
If it's stupid. And he just walked around it for 15 minutes with a pencil, tapping his mouth. I remember. And he said nothing. And he just looked at me and he said, so you want this to be able to run, 10-second quarter miles? And I went, yeah. He goes, yeah, I think we can do that. And I went, okay. And if John says it, because he's a no BS kind of guy. Yeah. If you look him up, Webster Race Engineering, he's built some unbelievable cars. Sure enough, he built the main components of the car, not the electric parts, but the drag orientated parts. And that car never broke. It never failed. It never lost control on the strip, despite everybody telling me it was going to be a death machine because it's too short. 1.7 meter wheelbase, Sam.
That's quite short.
It's really short when you're running 1,000 horsepower. Let me tell you that. How wide? Not very wide. Well, I could touch the passenger window really easily from the driver's seat. Yeah. Well, if you go on flux-capacitor.co.uk, I'm pretty sure it is a foot shorter than an Austin Mini.
What was it?
I think it was
What was the website?
I think it's flux-capacitor.co.uk.
Let's have a look.
I should know all this. I lived and breathed it for 3-4 years. But to answer, this is a really drawn out way of answering the lovely person's question. I don't own the car anymore.
Yeah.
I campaigned it for 2 years. I got the world record, and the deal with my wife was you campaign it for 2 years, and even if you don't get the record, you then have to retire it, and then we either keep it as a sort of exhibition car or we sell it.
Yeah.
And one of my sponsors, who is a great guy, who was actually related to the original tycoon who bankrolled the Enfield car operation in the 60s and 70s.
Right.
He bought it off me.
Oh, nice.
And he owns it.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. And I'm trying to persuade him to let me bring it out now and again, because it does still exist. I'd like to drive it again. In fact, the problem with cars like that is they are an addiction. You just want to go quicker again. And if I ever do, I've got plans to build a quicker, slightly madder car, but you need the backing of an OEM, really.
Yeah.